Blessings, BookTube. I'm here to break down this historical fiction for you, set in the Roman era by Simon SCARRO. It's called The Eagle's Prophecy. I'm not sure what that title has to do really with the story, or I guess maybe it's the scrolls, but anyway, we've got our heroes here. Cato, I guess, is meant to be more the brainy one, and Macro, kind of the brawny one. At one point, the two separate, and that's probably the most interesting part of the book, especially Cato's side. But then they come back together for the last bit of the novel, so they're mainly together. The setup is the best part of this book. In fact, I would have to say of this book what those horrible elementary teachers say of certain students, where they say, he had so much potential. He's not living up to his potential. So this book sets up a lot of potential. So basically, the backstory to this sounds quite fascinating. I'm sure there was an installment in this series before this that sounded like it was quite a bit better. Somebody gets killed, and there's some other intrigues, and basically both of these guys are under pain of death. And they're sitting in Rome waiting for their next, waiting to be redeployed. But they don't get to be redeployed because there's like, hey, we're going to kill you unless you track down these scrolls. Now, these scrolls are prophecy scrolls. There were 6, 3 were sold to the Romans. Of the 6, they were originally offered 6, and then the Romans didn't want to pay, so they burned one. So they were offered 5, burned one, and they were offered 3, whatever. Anyway, till they got down to 3 left. The Romans bought them full of prophecies. Well, it turns out those other 3 weren't burned, and they're in the possession of these pirates, and those are our villains. So the guys have to go defeat these pirates and get these scrolls. So fascinating setup, all kinds of potential for these prophecy scrolls, right? Especially as the best parts of this book are really around the Roman intrigues between commanders and things of that nature, and plots against the emperor. However, the prophecy scrolls literally reappear in any interesting way other than a MacGuffin in the literal last paragraph of the book, or next to last paragraph. Such a waste. So that's sort of squandered. Well, I always say that with a thriller book, which this is, by pacing and, stock characters and, set piece battles and all that good stuff, you'd have to say this was a thriller. I did read a really good Roman mystery once, and I wish I could remember the name of it. That was very good. It got a lot more Roman history into it as well. And I, of course, read Quo Vadis by Sienkiewicz, the Nobel winner from Poland, and that's a great Roman historical novel that I could recommend. Can't recommend this one because thrillers live and die by their villains. I keep saying this. Superhero movies too. And they keep getting short shrift. They keep getting forgotten. These are the worst cardboard pirates you could almost imagine. First of all, the line of conflict, it's literally a line from Ravenna to the pirate hideout. They go up and they go back, and that's it. So of the world, the Roman world, that's all we get. Very sad. Second of all, the pirates are virtually never at sea. They hang out in this dumb hideout, which is of course a cul-de-sac where they get trapped. Sorry for all the spoilers, but as you know, I generally get away with my spoilers because I believe, with the exception of certain mysteries or things of that nature where it is a big deal, or a reveal like Crying Game, that everything I discuss has value added. But if I'm spoiling this one and telling you it doesn't have value added, then I apologize, but I'm discouraging you from picking it up. Unless what I'm describing is right up your alley, of course. But anyway, pacing. So booktubers are obsessed with pacing. I think they seem to think that any part of the book that they find not interesting is, poorly paced. Whereas there has to be a great variety of pacing in a book to keep it interesting. So, for example, at one point, there's only one point where the pirates sort of show themselves to be strong at all. And it's not when they get their 3 boats stolen from them, which you can all guess how those 3 boats will come back into use later on. Um, they do sort of defeat the original commander because he's overloaded his boats with equipment for the invasion. And there's a spy who, the pirates know they're coming. But anyway, so they go out there and they get whipped, but they do make it to their beachhead, and then they turn around and go straight back to Ravenna to get the last of the, to pick up more soldiers for the invasion and leave Ravenna undefended. There's another potential I wished had gone somewhere, but it didn't. I mean, hello pirates, there's an undefended city over here. So literally we have a battle going up, turn around immediately, the same battle going back, running battle, I guess if you want to call it. That's action, 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 right? Which seems to be what a lot of booktubers are asking for. But it's utterly boring because it's the same thing, just in a different direction. So the spies. So there's this whole other shadow organization that's also vying for the scrolls. I'm going to call them the intriguers, because so little is made of them that I literally can't remember the name of the group. They were set up in the beginning, and again, you think there's going to be a really great chase to the scrolls and lots of intrigues with this whole other group of villains. And again, they're kind of mentioned, backhanded in a afterthought towards the end of the book. Just another wasted potential. Character-wise, not too much going on. Macro has a sort of little family drama that plays out a little bit. He hates Marines because his mom ran off with one. So that's proper good motivation, and you'd think that would there's a lot of fun that could be had with that. But then it's sort of set up, and then again, nothing happens with it. Cato's super seasick. But then turn around and he's commanding the boats at sea. Yeah, this makes no sense. I try not to comment on little historical inaccuracies or, military inaccuracies, these kinds of things in books. I bend over backwards to let authors take liberties. But, why are these centurions who are, there for fighting on land, commanding the boats when they know nothing about boats? Doesn't make any sense at all. What else? In terms of motivation. So there are spies both ways. There's a pirate spy. There's spies for the pirates. Some of the motivations make more sense. The pirates' king's son is captured. Now he's tortured into helping them. But it's sort of once he decides to help them, he's almost like a willing participant. Again, until the invasion lands him back into his pirate hideout. And then that didn't make a lot of sense, as well as the fact that you would probably motivate a pirate more with greed, right, than torture. So, by all accounts, they're pretty rough and ready fellows. So I thought that was kind of an odd choice to make there, but believable. I mean, if I was tortured, I'd give up whatever they wanted. I wouldn't run along super willingly afterwards. I'd be, very begruntled. That's not even a word, but that's what I would be. I'd be begruntled. And then the others, the spy, of course, that I won't spoil, that is revealed at the end, spying for the pirates. That motivation is completely unearned and doesn't really make much sense at all. So that's, of course, disappointing. So Yeah, unfortunately, what I can say in favor of this book is that it sets up a lot of great premises. So there's a lot of promise there. But since it fails to deliver almost point per point on those promises, unfortunately, I can't recommend the book. Though it's a fast read, it clips along. It's a thriller. Um, Nothing special, good or bad in that respect. The prose is serviceable, all those kinds of things. I think the history is probably what little is in there, probably fine. I think there's a little note at the end about a couple tweaks he made to the boats or the geography. Again, I don't have problems with those sorts of things. But darn it, you could have had this great pirate antagonists just going all over the Roman world, and you could have had these prophecy scrolls and these other secret agents vying, racing you for the scrolls. And instead, unfortunately, what we got was Simon Scarrow's Eagle's Prophecy. Sorry, guys.